Let's get into day 4 of the Karen Reed trial. Canton Firefighter paramedic Katie McLaughlin is up next to testify. She goes through arriving to the scene and Anthony Flamati directing her to question Karen Reed because remember, he said he was asking Karen Reed questions and she wasn't answering.
I remember Tony was kind of at the head of the stretcher. I was standing on the side. There was a woman next to me, and Tony said to me, "Can you try to figure out what happened?" And he kind of motioned to this woman that was next to me. She seemed very upset. So just basic demographic info, who the patient is, his name, his date of birth. Did he have any medical problems? So I was asking those questions. She answered who the patient was, his birthday. I think she answered maybe some of those initial medical questions that I asked. But as I said, she's very distraught. She was kind of moving around a scene a little bit. So I was just kind of following her. And then we came to a stop at one point. And so at that point, I asked her if there had been any significant trauma that happened before this. So she said, "I hit him." She repeated it. There was a woman standing across from her who I believe at that point said, "You're hysterical. You need to calm down. You're hysterical." She repeated, "I hit him." And there was a police officer who was in that vicinity kind of with us who replied, "You what?" She repeated it one more time. And that officer then signaled to somebody, "Get Goody down here," which I'm assuming would be the sergeant. It was said in the presence of the police officer, so I felt like that information was appropriately transferred. I just felt based on her demeanor, I don't think it would have been productive for me to continue to ask her questions at that point. So I went to the back of the ambulance where the patient care was happening.
Did you relay that information to any of the other firefighters from your department in the back of the ambulance?
I did. Tony was there, Tim, firefighter Kelly, firefighter Walsh maybe might have been in there at that point. I noted that he was wearing jeans. I noticed a lighter, like a black zip-up jacket or sweatshirt. It was like a lighter jacket. I noticed he had one sneaker on.
Also, a few people commented and said that the shoe was ultimately found. That hasn't been revealed to the jury yet, but I wanted to tell y'all because I thought it was still lost. So once that's revealed to the jury, I'll include it in the recap. All right now, child. Things get spicy during cross-examination.
Well, the questioning started, as I said, she was moving around the scene. So the questioning was ongoing as she was moving around to different locations. At one point, we did come to a stop.
When you came to a stop, that's the point at which you recall the statement being made that you attribute to my client.
Yes.
And in that group, who was there?
So there was Miss Reed to my right. There was a civilian woman to my left. There was a police officer who was not directly across from me, but I would say maybe diagonal to me, closer to Miss Reed.
What appears to be a yellow and red jacket.
Yes.
Who's that?
That would be me.
Who's to your right?
It appears to be Miss Reed.
And to your left?
A civilian woman.
And across, as you said, sort of diagonal, closer to Miss Reed is?
A police officer.
Do you know that officer's name, by the way?
I don't know his name.
So this would be the time or close in time to the time that you heard the statement that you attribute to Miss Reed, correct?
Yes. The statement was made in front of the police officer, so that would technically be the first time that statement was made to a police officer in my presence. And then, yes, I testified to it on January 30th, as you said.
You said it on January 30th. You weren't testifying under oath, correct?
Okay. Said it. Said it.
Okay.
Yes.
My question was really, and I appreciate you clarifying, my question was really the first time you actually told this statement to any law enforcement officer was on January 30th.
Yes.
Okay. In fact, what you told Trooper Proctor was, quote, Karen then turned to her friend and stated, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." End quote. Correct?
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes. If you're saying that's in quotation marks in that, then yes.
That's what's in the report.
Okay.
You don't have to agree with me. I'm asking yes or no questions. Not okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are you aware that the female standing to your left reported that exact same statement as, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You then went back to the ambulance after you heard that statement. And at that point, you told them what you believed you had just heard.
Yes.
You didn't write that in any report?
I don't write a report in this scenario.
You didn't write it in any notes?
No.
You didn't document that statement in any way whatsoever?
Other than my interview with Proctor and my subsequent testimony.
Since January 30th, in that conversation that we just talked about with Trooper Proctor, your statement has evolved.
Respectfully, I think my testimony has been pretty consistent.
Well, you told Trooper Proctor, Karen Reed looked at a female standing to your left, said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Yesterday, you told these jurors, Karen Reed said, I hit him, and an officer said, you what? And she repeated, I hit him, and the officer immediately turned and went to find another sergeant. So you would agree that from that time till yesterday, your story has evolved. It's changed.
Would I agree with that? I don't know that I agree with that.
You think the story that you told Trooper Proctor is exactly the same
I understand what you're saying. So I understand what you're saying.
So has your story evolved?
Okay, yes.
Ms. McLaughlin, who's Caitlin Albert?
I went to high school with somebody named Caitlin Albert.
Do you know Caitlin Albert?
I do. I would say more acquaintances, not close friends. I would say that we have mutual friends, so we might see each other occasionally because of mutual friends, but we don't have a one-on-one friendship or hang out regularly.
Who's her dad?
I don't know.
Do you know who her family is?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let me set it up for you. So we all know John O'Keefe is found outside of 34 Fairview Road around 6 o'clock in the morning on January 29th, 2022. Now the owners of the house at 34 Fairview Road are Brian and Nicole Albert. And even though Brian Albert is a police officer, neither him or his wife come outside the morning that John is found in his front yard. So now Katie McLaughlin is testifying that she's one of the firefighters that arrived to the scene where John was found. And it just so happens that she went to high school with and is acquaintances with Caitlin Albert. And Caitlin Albert is the daughter of Brian and Nicole Albert, who again are the owners of the house. You following along? So Karen's defense team is attempting to get in some pictures of Katie McLaughlin and Caitlin Albert to prove that they are friends. But since the prosecutors objected to those photos, the judge wants to see what kind of questions are going to be asked and how that's going to go to determine if the objection should be sustained or overruled. So these next clips I'm about to show are what happened when the jury was not in the courtroom and the defense is asking Katie McLaughlin about her friendship with Caitlin Albert.
So, Ms. McLaughlin, Mr. Jackson's going to be allowed to ask you questions outside the presence of the jury.
I know her. I would say she's an acquaintance. She's not a close friend. We have mutual friends.
How long have you known her?
Probably since high school.
And you know her family, generally?
I don't.
You don't know anything about her family?
I don't know her family.
Had you ever been to her house?
I would say, I would lean towards no. I have no recollection of ever being at her house.
Are you friends with her on social media?
Yes.
How long have you been social media friends, quote, friends with Caitlin Albert?
I don't know.
Or the second document appears to be a photograph. It's I, is that right?
Yes.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
When was that photograph taken?
I have no idea.
Where was that photograph taken?
I don't know.
No idea how long ago that was?
I don't. Probably local. If it's a beach, I don't remember. I've never been away to a beach on vacation with all of these people, so probably local. Did I go to the beach at some point with these people? Yes. I don't know when this picture is from. It seems old to me, but
What would you call that if that's not a mini vacation?
a day at the beach.
That photograph looks a little older, correct?
They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from. I don't remember specifically what or where this is.
What's the location?
I don't know.
This is yet another socializing event with Caitlin that you can't recall.
I don't know where this is. These photos are old. I don't know. I don't remember where these were. I don't remember.
How many times have you gone on day trips with those dozen people?
I don't know.
So it's not just that she's a mutual friend, she's a friend.
As I said before, I would consider myself more of an acquaintance. We have mutual friends. I wouldn't consider her a close friend.
Socialized with the same friends as she did, went on day trips with her, apparently have all the same friend group?
I don't know that we have all the same friend group. I wouldn't consider her to be a close friend.
That's a close-up photograph of who?
Caitlin, and I'm also in it. It seems like I'm kind of kneeling down next to her.
You're sort of just behind Caitlin in that photograph?
Yes.
Caitlin's the one drinking the beer?
Yes.
You got your right arm around her?
Yes.
You both appear to be wearing swimwear,
Yes.
bathing suits,
Yes.
which was posted on social media.
Okay. Are you telling me that?
I'm asking you that. Have you ever seen that posted on social media?
I don't recall seeing this picture, but if it was on social media, then okay.
How long ago was that picture taken?
I don't know.
Who took the picture?
I don't know.
Where were you when the photograph was taken?
Probably at a beach if we're wearing bathing suits.
Probably at a beach or at a beach?
Well, I can't see a beach in the picture. We're in bathing suits. It could be at a beach.
Right. Do you recognize the bathing suit that you're wearing?
No.
You literally don't even recognize your own outfit?
No.
So that doesn't help define where you were and when that photograph was taken?
No, sir.
Do any of these photographs remind you that you've been to Caitlin's house at some point?
No.
Has Caitlin ever been to your house?
Not to my recollection.
When was the last time you talked to Caitlin?
I don't remember exactly. It's probably been a few years.
When was the last time you went to a socializing event with Caitlin?
Again, I don't remember exactly.
Did you talk to Caitlin at any point around January 29th, 2022?
No.
When was the last time you had talked to Caitlin before January 29th, 2022?
No, I don't talk to her. Like I said, we're not like close friends. It's like pretty infrequent that we would interact. I don't know when the last time before that. I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not that I can recall.
So is that something that you think you might remember if you responded to a house of a father where there's a police officer dead or dying on the yard, on the lawn, 30 feet from the front door? Might have had a conversation with Caitlin?
I've never had a conversation with Caitlin about that call or this case.
Did you ever disclose to anybody that you had a relationship with Caitlin Albert?
No.
When you went to 34 Fairview, you knew that that was the Albert family home, correct?
No.
When did you learn that it was the Albert? You now know that.
I know that now.
When did you find out?
I don't know.
Would it have been the next day?
No.
It's not that often in the little town of Canton that a police officer is found dead or dying on another police officer's lawn.
We responded to a medical call, so the conversation after the fact was at the hospital, debriefing the call, going over what happened, what we use for equipment, what we need, and just like that was the extent of the conversation.
It was certainly enough of a subject matter that you learned, according to you, after the 29th. That house belonged to Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, parents of your friend Caitlin Albert.
Well, at that point, it was on the news consistently, so I don't know where that information was introduced, but
It was pretty early on after the 29th.
I don't recall when it was known that that was the case. At some point after I learned it.
Do you know any of Caitlin's siblings?
No.
You don't know Brian Albert Jr.?
No.
Do you know of any of her extended family that might be a little closer in age to you, like Colin Albert?
No.
Have you ever met any of them?
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall, or no?
I don't remember meeting any of them.
Your Honor, that's all I have right now.
So the exhibits don't come in. But based on this voir dire and the answers, I'm going to give you some leeway on exactly what you did. The relationship, the socialization and the extent of it, friends on social media, those areas.
Judge rules that the pictures cannot come in, but the attorney still can ask some questions. So the jury comes back into the courtroom and the questions continue.
We have mutual friends. I don't know.
Other than the 3 photographs that you've seen, there have been other events that you've been at with Caitlin Albert that weren't necessarily photographed, or we don't have those photographs, correct?
Probably.
When you showed up at 34 Fairview that morning, did you recognize that address or recognize the home as being that of Caitlin Albert's?
No.
Till yesterday when you testified, you now know that that's the Albert home.
Yes.
And you also indicated that between that report that you gave to Trooper Proctor, that statement that you gave to Trooper Proctor, and yesterday's testimony, your statement has evolved. You've already admitted that, correct?
I don't think I agreed with you on that. I've always testified to I feel as though my testimony has been consistent.
I appreciate how you might feel. I'm just interested in the actual facts. You agree, Ms. McLaughlin, that the statement that you gave to Trooper Proctor is not the same as the statement that you gave to these jurors yesterday?
Yes.
There were some other firefighters that testified on day 4. They were called to the scene because Karen Reed had expressed thoughts of self-harm, so they were called to care for her. I'm not going to go through much of their testimony, just the first one, because during his testimony, a picture of the injuries to John O'Keefe's arm were introduced. They're not terribly graphic, but this is your warning. If you don't want to see them, I'm going to post them.
And what, if anything, did firefighter McLaughlin indicate to you what had been told to her?
Someone said she had hit him. That is Mr. O'Keefe's right arm.
With regard to the injuries that you described on direct examination, Lieutenant, I believe you would mainly concentrate.
I'm sorry, I need to, please take this down for me.
The other big thing is that the jury was able to go to the scene, to 34 Fairview Road, to look at where John O'Keefe's body was found, and they were also able to examine Karen Reed's vehicle. So here are a couple clips from that. Before I play that, though, I'm recapping this case on my podcast, I'm Not a Lawyer, But The Debrief. So if you want more of that, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm Not a Lawyer, But, because we talking about it.
So is it?